Welcome back to Stab the Dragon Productions. We are here for episode number 119. 119. This is the Texas Rye Whiskey Tournament, and it's the championship match. So we've got, on the one hand, Still Austin, 99.6 proof, Still Austin Straight Rye, versus Blackland Rye Whiskey at 83 proof. So now this championship is the championship of the first bracket. I've said all along that this is going to be a double elimination tournament. And there's different ways of doing that. So this bracket of the Texas Rye Whiskey Tournament, my number one rule is I'm looking for pure rye flavor. Absolutely. So that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm judging by. Now, we began this tournament back in January of 2023 with 16 rye whiskeys from Texas. Well, 2 of them are wannabe or could have been Texas whiskeys. Lead Slinger's Fighting Spirit Rye is out of Oklahoma, but is partially owned by Matt Best, who is born in Texas or lives in Texas or something. Then there's Cotton Hollow Whiskey, distilled and aged in Indiana by a Texan who wanted to build a distillery here in Texas, but his plans got changed by a local government. At any rate, we had 2 divisions within this bracket. The first part of the division was lower proof whiskeys, and then the second division was higher proof whiskeys. So tonight, essentially, what we've got is the winner of both of those divisions in this bracket. Because Blackland is 83 and Still Austin is 99.6, so that's a tough matchup, absolutely. And lower proof sometimes just doesn't stand a chance against high proof, but I've had that reversed at times. That's how Blackland has gotten to where it's at. It's beaten some 90 proof whiskeys. So there you go. But of these 16 whiskeys, I've liked all of them. I haven't had any that were bad. I've had a couple that are qualified as unusual, certainly, but I liked all of them, and so it was a little bit tough to choose at times. So there's a tiebreaker that I use, and that is which whiskey has the best price and the best availability. Okay, so if I really can't tell, if I've got 2 whiskeys that are very similar, and I can't really judge one over the other, what's the price, what's the availability? And that's helped me a couple of times. So what's going to happen after this tournament is over, or this bracket is over? There's a couple of different ways of doing it, but I think I'm going to go all the way back, do the same 16 whiskeys, same head-to-head competition, but this time I'm going to be looking for something different. I'll be looking for which whiskey do I actually like the best. Because here's the deciding factor in this bracket. The Texas whiskeys that have the Texas funk, that oak, char taste that I love, those whiskeys tended to lose towards the whiskeys that had just the pure rye flavor. So that's the determining factor in this matchup. So if I go back and I do the whole bracket over again, but I'm emphasizing Texas flavor, I'm emphasizing what do I like the best, I want to see if I get different results. Can I decide that I like a whiskey with the Texas funk better than one that's got just the pure rye flavor? I don't know. So I think that may be the next series of, or the next bracket in this test. But let's get on to tonight's contest. Blackland 83 proof, fighting out of Blackland Distillery in Fort Worth, is a hometown favorite. But due to being lower proof, it is the underdog tonight. You can get this whiskey at Total Wine for $29.99, Specs at $29.44, and Goody Goody for $34.99. Those are some good prices for a craft whiskey. I'll tell you that. Craft rye whiskey. That's really good prices. But there's a question about Blackland. Blackland let out 100 proof rye last fall. Is there still room in their business plan for the 83 proof? Are they going to have two different ryes going on here? I hope so, because I like both of them. So now let's look at Still Austin. 99.6, fighting out of Austin, Texas, is favored to win because the proof has a huge advantage. But look at the price difference. Total wine, $45.99. Specs, $47.36. Goody Goody, $49.99. So $45 to $50 for this whiskey. Now, I always do a comparison of visual appeal. So let's look at the bottles here. This is what I call a classic long neck whiskey bottle, and this is kind of my favorite style, I think. And they've got a local artist in Austin that has done their labels for their different whiskeys. So this has a classy touch to it, as well as a classic touch to it. So I really like, it's got some embossing here, Still Austin. I don't know if you can see that. I think you can see that. So, and on the back, it's got all the hoo-ha statement, going on here. But it's got the label Certified Texas Whiskey, so that's good. Blackland does not have that label Certified Texas Whiskey because I'm kind of thinking there's still some sourced whiskey in this. I might be wrong. But, there's some conflicting information that I've gotten from the website. But by now, this may be all Texas grain. They use triticale. That's one of the differences here, is that they mix triticale grain, which is a hybrid between wheat and rye. So I don't know. I know that's true of their bourbon. I'm not sure if it's true of their rye. I don't know what the mash bill is here. But, this is nothing here that says Texas certified. That you've got a decanter style bottle, which is not my favorite. It's classy looking. It's nice. And this actually matches what they try to do at their bar. They're kind of a high-end, high-class situation going on there. So, this kind of matches who they want to be. But it's just kind of a basic minimum labeling going on here, but a fancy bottle. So there you go. But let's look at the actual whiskeys and see if I can tell. Well, let's look at the glasses first. Let's see if I can tell which is which from just the visual. Wow, those are very evenly matched, but I'm going to say this one's a shade darker. So I'm going to say that's the Still Austin. If that is Still Austin, on the bottom of the glass will be a number 2. You can see it, but I can't. And I'm going to say this is the Blackland, and it should have a number 1 on the bottom. So when I drink it, you should be able to see that. So visually, I just aesthetically prefer darker whiskeys. So I'm going to give advantage to this glass, which I think is Still Austin. and the proof, if you've got a 99.6 proof versus an 83 proof, it should be darker. So that's probably the case. All right, let's go with the nosing. So here's what I think the Blackland is. And an 83 proof, and I immediately get a nice dose of rye. That's a very pretty spicy rye flavor right there on the nose. So that, if you've watched my channel, my nose really doesn't work. I've got very limited ability when it comes to nosing whiskeys. But that's got a nice flavor, nice scent there. Let's try this one. This is a little bit stronger. So again, I think it's the Still Austin. There is an evergreen flavor going on there. That's really very nice. I get the rye flavor, but I also get something like pine needles, fir trees, something, pine needles. Yeah. So both appearance and nose, this one on the right has got it. Now let's go for the tasting, and I'll start over here on the left with what I think is Blackland. again, pure rye flavor. That's just there's no Texas funk in there. If there's any triticale in there, I can't discern it, and that's just got a very nice rye flavor. That's going to be a high rye. That's either a 95.5 or 100% rye something. I mean, there's no, I don't think there's any corn in that at all. That is just for 83 proof, if that's what this is, and you can tell on the bottom there. That's an easy sipper, and you could just sip on that. And I think the flavor is really, even for those 83, I think the flavor is really strong enough to where you could mix that into a cocktail and still get a good rye flavor. So man, that's for 83 proof and for that price, that's an outstanding deal right there. Absolutely. So Blackland ought to be proud of that. All right, let me cleanse my palate with a Topo Chico. In fact, today would be a great day to have a old-fashioned or a nice cold cocktail because it's 100 degrees here in Fort Worth. June 19th, Juneteenth. All right, we're going to go for this glass. I think if it's still Austin, there should be a number 2 on the bottom. But still Austin has that very clear, distinct flavor, the evergreen flavor. So that's what I was picking up on the nose here. And that carries through. Now the mouthfeel, noticeable difference between these two on the mouthfeel. Still, this one on my right, still Austin. I'm convinced that's what this is. It's got a little bit more of a viscous feel to the mouthfeel. The Blackland wasn't thin, but neither was it full-bodied. So, at 83 proof, that's what you're going to run into. But this one, you get the evergreen flavor, so the nose is true to the taste. But the rye is there, particularly on the finish, long-lasting finish. You know, that evergreen flavor, it doesn't obscure the rye. And see, that's why this one advanced is, yeah, it's got the bonus of the evergreen flavor, but it doesn't dilute the rye. So that's an outstanding combination. So it's time to make a decision here. And boy, this is where it gets tough because there's an outside factor that came in, and I don't want to cause a controversy. Of course, not many people watch this channel, so whoop-de-doo. But here's the deal. I got an advertisement on Facebook from Still Austin. I get advertisements from whiskey companies all the time because, you know, I search out whiskey companies, I research. This advertisement was for an event at the Still Austin location, and it included a drag show. Now, I know a lot of whiskey companies are celebrating Pride Month this month. Goes against my religious convictions. I went to Lockwood Distillery with my wife a couple of weeks ago. They had a pride flag up in there, but guess what? I didn't get any advertisements about drag shows. I've been to Acre Distillery. On their latest advertisement, there's a little flag, you know, gay pride flag or whatever the heck it's called. Those things irritate me. I don't like to see that. It goes against my beliefs, but still Austin hosting a drag show, that crosses a line that's pretty clear. And so I hate to do this, but still Austin is disqualified. Default. You offended me. I will never buy another one of your products. And I was looking forward to it because this is a fine whiskey. And you know, they make good stuff. But hey, you cross the line and I'm done with you. So the winner tonight, Blackland83 by default. But their stuff is very good too. And so that was going to be a close call. Price and availability. Well, price, they're both available at everywhere, but price for the Blackland is outstanding. So yeah, Blackland wins. Blackland Rye Whiskey is the winner by default because still Austin is disqualified. All right, well that does it for this first bracket of the Texas Rye Whiskey Tournament. And so we will see about continuing this tournament next week in a different, with different rules, looking for something different. So we hope to see you then. This is Stab the Dragon out here.